So my name is David Sum. I am the lead game designer on StarCraft 2 co-op.
Awesome.
And life is fantastic. Co-op is fantastic. Gamescom.
Nice.
It's been amazing.
Yeah, you said it was your first time in Germany?
This is definitely my first time, yeah.
How do you like it?
It's good. A lot of Kolsch.
A lot of Kolsch?
A lot of Kolsch. This is a family show. We shouldn't talk about that. Right?
Yeah, no, I asked a lot of Germans. Apparently, Kolsch is, unless you're in like Cologne, you're not supposed to drink it. Apparently, I don't know. I'm not entirely sure, but people are very close with their beer.
The locals, yeah. For the locals, so.
There you go.
Yeah. So much cool stuff here. Blizzard, we have a big presence, so it's really been fun.
Yeah.
Did a dance contest, judging.
Exactly. Yeah.
So a costume contest coming
if you're watching, are you gonna be judging that too?
I'm not.
Oh, okay. You judged the dancing yesterday.
I did yeah.
We said 5 would win, but anyway. If you're watching this on YouTube, by the way, I'm also live streaming this right now on Twitch, and for those of you on Twitch, we're gonna be taking questions as well from the chat in just a little bit. I already did take a couple of questions the other day from people in the Twitch chat that I'm sure you've already heard 100 times before over the last couple of days with like other interviews and whatnot, but it's okay.
Yeah. Well, some people may not have heard, so yeah, we can talk about everything. Yeah.
Exactly. So I was mostly like curious about like the whole process of like making a co-op commander. Is that something we could discuss? Like something we could get into?
Yeah.
So I've got actually like the normal game open here. For those of you unfamiliar, like the Haka is announced here. He's playable right behind us. I have been playing him quite a bit over the last few days. He's not quite in the live version of the game right now, just yet. But I mean, I've been playing him a bunch, and he's actually really cool. He's really a lot of fun. So how long would it like take to like say from like start to finish, start up a commander? Like I'm sure you got like a time span in mind for
months.
Like months, like literally months of work.
Some of them go a little bit faster. Some will take a little bit longer. Abathur took us a little while. It really depends on how well the first ideas are working.
Right.
Like Abathur, we went through a bunch of different changes and ideas and like reboots. We did some pretty crazy stuff with Abathur internally.
So
we
had
like
what, for example?
Like critter hunting. We had this idea where we would make critters spawn across the map, and that was the way that you could get essence or biomass, I guess, for him.
They wouldn't just drop off units? That was the only way?
That was like either a bonus way or that would be the only way. It was trying to go back to his evolution missions from Heart of the Swarm.
Right.
Where he had like special missions. So we're thinking like there were some special monsters that would spawn in that had like really cool powers, and you had to like go and find them.
That's actually a really cool concept. Like that's
so we have like really cool ideas like that, and then once you like try them in game, where it's like this is horrible, and they have to be like on different maps.
It sounds awesome, at least like from.
And then like maybe like the hidden monsters are too far on certain maps, and you couldn't get to them, and he wouldn't be able to get his power. But
so do you usually like come up with like an idea first, like an ability or like a concept like that, and then the character, or is it more often than not like a?
So in the very beginning, we'll look at we'll just look. Brainstorm like themes and ideas, like keywords. So we'll have an empty page, and we'll be like, for Dahaka, it's like, what is he about? So you say Primal Zerg, eating things, collecting essence,
dinosaurs,
evolving, dinosaurs, monsters, right? So you have a bunch of those kind of words, and then you start thinking about what kind of different mechanics you can do. Sometimes we have specific mechanics that we like, and we insert those, and sometimes you come up with the fantasy, and then you come up with mechanics afterwards. So it's kind of from both sides.
That makes sense.
So for him, like, we were pretty lucky, I think, because a lot of his original ideas made it through. So it didn't take us that long. So like the War 3 kind of hero thing came up pretty early.
Right, it's like the Night Elf building kind of thing.
And we're like, oh, he's gonna be like, he's gonna be a Night Elf. Like, I don't know.
Right. I actually did not realize after like playing like 3 games with him that you could root up your main buildings. It doesn't seem to serve much of a purpose other than like repositioning them. Like I've tried making like 16 of them, and they do like no damage. They tank a lot.
Yeah. I was worried. Yeah. That was part of the balance process too. I was worried, like, I know you guys have already found like the mass worms thing.
So he's got an ability where you like, no, it's not even an ability. You can morph your drones into a worm, and you can deep tunnel worms all over the map. It's like deep tunneling, like the combination of a spine and a spore crawler with detection for 1 supply.
Yeah.
It's 250 minerals only. It's good, it gets a little crazy, but yeah.
So I was worried that the wardens would be that way too. So I tried to keep their stats, reasonable. So you're not just making wardens and sending them out. So
I was thinking like if it's gonna be like an Ancient of War where you can just like Ancient of Wars do legit damage in Warcraft 3. It would be insane if
eat
you
some trees.
Yeah.
Keep going.
That would be awesome.
Yeah.
No, sadly that's not. It's not that great. I see a lot of people asking when is the Haka coming. I don't know if you can share anything about that.
Super soon. I don't know if we've released an official date, but super soon.
There you go. Yeah. So basically, StarCraft 2 has been updating like every month, right? There's been a major patch this month, so I'm assuming it's gonna be September. But at least that's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, we got a lot of stuff coming. So.
Yeah, it's actually really cool. Like, people are like, well, StarCraft 2, it's not as popular anymore nowadays, but it's still like major patches coming out every month. So it's still like continued development for future commanders. Like, are you guys? So say, are you already working like? I'm sure that the Haka was done like, not last week, right? He was done a while ago,
right?
Yeah,
he's been done. Some of the stuff that you're seeing on the footage and stuff, that's pretty old footage. So even then, like we've already polished some stuff.
So are you already like working like a half year in advance, or like how much?
Yeah, so we're working on our next one.
Cool.
Shouldn't have told you that because then Twitch chat's just gonna want to know about it.
People have been asking for a long time, but it's awesome. Like it's cool that there's like continued support, rather than like one at a time. I remember asking like one of the Heroes of the Storm developers, and they're like working like 9 months in advance or something ridiculous like that. Like they're like they've got like 9 already ready to go.
9 heroes down the line. Yeah. So we're this is one of the Twitter questions that I answered, which is so we're working on one commander, and then maybe about like halfway we'll start the next one. So there's some overlap just because the different departments can work on them at different times, right? So
so like
when the art department is working on finishing the Haka, then the design is already prototyping the next one. So we're not, so that people aren't waiting for us. That's usually the big bottleneck in development is to like, is this design final? And we're like, yes.
So
and
are you
like change it a week later, and they're like, "Is it really final?" We're like, "Yeah."
All right. Otherwise, they have to like do it again.
Change it again. Yeah. So, shout out to our artists who have a lot of patience with.
So are you like essentially like overlooking the entire thing then? Like, basically everyone reports to you, and you have to decide what's going on there.
So we have an art director.
Right.
Okay. So he's in charge of the art department.
Okay.
So I work closely with him.
Right. Makes sense.
But I am the bottleneck.
There you go, guys. Be nice. Otherwise, there's no more gonna.
No, well, a bottleneck as in I hold up him doing work.
Right. No. Okay.
Yeah, I gotta make my decisions.
That's awesome. So I saw a bunch of people like asking questions in particular about things like future commanders having the option to play the same commander as your ally, or something along the lines of like a random co-op commander when you're just simply not sure what to play. I get that sometimes when I'm like, well, I don't actually know what commander I want to play.
Yeah.
Are those like options you're looking into? Is it like something you guys discuss where both people can play the same commander at the same time, or is that like a conscious decision? Like,
we made a conscious decision not to do the same commander at the same time.
They're taking pictures
because
of
they
us.
have. Well, I think they're taking pictures of you. I'm just kind of in the way. So
I'm sorry.
I'll just stand back.
Fair enough.
But yeah, we wanted to make sure that you don't play as the same one.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, first of all, just for confusion,
right?
Of like which one of these are my units. But more importantly, I think we try to design them with a lot of synergy,
right?
So that they play off each other. Like one of them, like Raynor or Abathur is the healer, and somebody else could be like doing debuffs or like CCs, that kind of stuff. So I think it's more interesting to have not mirrors.
Right. No,
so
I agree.
We definitely made that a conscious decision.
Mm-hmm.
I know it's a little tough when new commanders come out, and the queue is just like 90%.
I think that's one of the main reasons why people asked it. Like when Phoenix came out, it was really tough to like find a game without Phoenix.
So people were like, "Oh, you should release 2 commanders at the same time."
It's like, well, that's a lot of work.
So we could, if you want to wait twice as long, but I don't know that you guys would want to do that. So
if you want to patch like every half year or every couple of months.
So I would definitely recommend you find a buddy, even if you go on the chat to say like, hey, you want to play co-op with me, and then we'll switch off. Like I go to Haka once, and then you go to Haka.
That's what we've been doing, like me and Winter. Like we've been going back and forth there.
So I think it's a fun way to play with some friends when new commanders come out.
Perfect.
As far as the random commander, I know we've been getting that request a lot. So our engineers are amazing. They're like some of the best in the industry. The problem is that we've been giving them a ton of work. So they've been working on war chests.
Right.
They've been working on leaderboards. They got like a bunch of other stuff lined up.
The list of priorities. I hear that from all of the
Yeah.
interviews. Like there's like a list of 100 things we
There's
want to
like
do.
a million
and
things, yeah. And then people are like, random commander. It's like, well, it's on the list.
It's somewhere near the bottom. Like
Yeah, it's on the list,
We'll
but
get to it.
we're not gonna put that above like war chests, right?
Right.
So it's there. I promise. It's
Right.
on the list.
Exactly.
So,
No, it makes sense. It makes sense. Like it's one of those things. It's like no
someday.
reason not to have it, right?
Yeah, like we should do it. So I think it would be fun. Another thing that people have been talking about is random announcers, which I think is super cool.
Okay.
So, actually, someone was even talking about setting up specific announcers per commander, which sounds awesome. So I
Right.
think I can put that
Yeah.
on
Right
the
now
list
it's
as
bound
well.
to your race, right? I think.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
it's by race. So
Yeah.
hopefully something else to add to the list, but
Yeah. It's just like on the list of priority.
just,
It's not very
just
important.
gotta send food and send snacks to our engineers. They're working so hard.
Yeah. Exactly. So what about like, for example, StarCraft 2 like co-op leaderboards?
Yeah.
Because I know there's been talk about that where you could actually like, besides just simply playing the missions and completing them on brutal, you can have like more or less like a competitive aspect, even though it's still co-op and you're still playing like with a buddy. I suppose you can see how well you're doing in comparison to others. Is that still something that's ongoing, or?
Yeah. So we're still working on leaderboards.
Okay.
Like I said, our engineers are working really hard.
Right.
Our web team is working hard. So there's going to be some web interface as well.
Cool.
I don't think I'm supposed to talk too much about it, but it's still going. And so the primary design goal is to make sure that you're playing the game like you would. Like you're not doing any weird things. You're just trying to do it as well as you can.
Right.
So there's a combination of doing it fast, but you still have to do everything. So you wanna like the
Right.
bonus objectives are still important. So if you got like some speed run and you finish the mission in like 8 minutes,
Yeah. But
that's
some
not going to
missions
be
are like,
that's
you
not
know,
going to be like the high score because you got to make sure you do everything. So
Yeah. So like it's like a different, well, I guess a different leaderboard or like a different like top 100 for each map and.
for each map,
Yeah.
and I think really for me, what I really wanted, or us as the design team, we really wanted to make it like an encompassing thing too, like the focus. So it's not just am I the best on this map, but like I'm the best co-op
Okay.
player. So
I
it's gonna
would
be
love
like
something like that,
Every
like-
map,
Yeah.
and it's going to be commander focused.
Mm-hmm.
So you can see like, am I the best Rainer in North
Okay.
America? You know,
Yeah,
be
yeah,
like,
yeah.
I'm the best Swan in EU. You can look at that in that way too, but there will be like a cumulative one, so you can see really like
Right.
if you've mastered every commander, that'll give you like a better shot, right? Because maybe Rainer's better on one map, maybe
Mm-hmm.
Forsen's better on a different one. So really just like
Yeah,
really
to
just
still make it
drilling
fun.
down on
Yeah.
like the most like the best run possible. So hopefully
It's gonna be cool. Like people will like discuss some crazy strategies that like
yeah.
you drop your first Terran Marine over there, so you
Yeah.
get vision for the Haka, so you can consume the first dude and deep. You
Yeah,
know, that's
yeah,
gonna be
like
cool
that kind of
strategies.
stuff.
Yeah.
So I think it's going to be really cool for streamers and stuff like you
Yeah,
guys.
I would
where
love
you
to
guys-
figure stuff like that. That's awesome. Like,
Yeah.
because I already was talking about it with Winter. So like, for example, the Haka is got a consumability. He
Yeah.
basically gains experience off of like the strength of the hero.
Yeah.
So if you know where the hybrids are located, he can one-shot a hybrid at level 1, essentially.
Mm-hmm.
So if you like have a Terran Marine drop from Rainer, who can like do that through the Fog of War, and
And-
consume like a hybrid, he will die
Yeah.
immediately. But obviously, you can probably still get him out. You know, there's some cool min-maxing that you can
Yeah,
do right
like,
now. That's
there's
like
gonna be a lot
currently
of
not
min-maxing.
necessary.
Yeah.
Because right now, if you want to do it on brutal, I mean, it's not like, you know, if you play the game a lot, it's pretty straightforward,
Yeah.
and you don't really need like a super specific, like well thought out strategy.
Yeah.
So
But you're like,
feel
I want to
that's-
shave off 10 seconds on this map or something
be
like
awesome.
that. You know? Like,
Yeah, that would be insane. Like, there's gonna be people pushing like for milliseconds at some point if you've got enough. Because I know there's a lot of people that watch the content as well. That are like really hardcore into co-op and they don't necessarily care so much about like 1v1 or arcade games or anything like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. So I think it's going to be crazy when it comes out because, like I've been saying, like we can test hundreds of games internally.
Yeah,
Of
exactly.
like the trillions of combos that we have, but like once it goes live and there's millions of people playing it, we're like, oh my goodness,
You'll find
like,
something
this
that's
is
broken.
This is
Like-
so broken.
Yeah.
So we're kind of bracing ourselves for that too. When leaderboards comes out, like everyone's going to be doing crazy stuff.
Nice. Yeah, so I'm just looking through some notes that I made earlier
Yeah.
from when I asked people what would be going on. Oh, yeah, that's actually a cool one. Like, lore-wise, do you guys keep in mind, like, which commanders are currently alive, or do you not really care about that right now?
So we've been starting off like that because we have so many.
Right,
so why not just use the live ones right now, stay within our time frame. So co-op, lore-wise, story, wise,
Yeah.
like it takes place right before the end of Legacy of the Void.
Okay.
So before
so
you
you do
just
keep that in mind.
yeah,
Like,
before you fight Amon, like before spoilers, everyone.
if you haven't played Legacy of the Void by now,
It's
that's
been
your
out for a
loss.
while.
Like,
It's been out for a while. So before Kerrigan does her thing.
Right.
So that's kind of where it takes place.
Right.
So we've been using characters and like their conversations and personalities are within that timeline, but we're not really concerned with the lore a lot. We're just trying to keep it so that
Right.
it kind of makes sense. You're not playing like infested Tychus or something weird like that. Although I don't know.
That would be pretty
That's-
cool. I'd be okay with that.
That's another
Yeah, so that's like one of
character that
the-
people have been asking for. But
Yeah, exactly. Like, Tygus is one of the, like, people love Tygus in the Wings of Liberty campaign, but he's not
Yeah.
doing very well.
yeah.
So, yeah. All right. Well, there you go, guys. Now,
So
now you can start looking into different ones.
So we're definitely having that conversation of like, should we do,
I don't know.
characters
Manx,
that are
like-
dead? Should we do like Brood War characters?
Right.
Like should like Aldaris be a
Right.
commander just for fun? Like just to see what happens. So
Is that the same idea for like maps then? Like the story of the maps and whatnot, and the people you help out in the
yeah,
maps.
because one of them you're like defending the Shakuris temple,
Right.
and like that temple's already blown up. So like what is
Yeah,
it?
yeah,
So we're
exactly.
like, oh well, it's
There's another one.
It's no, it blew up, and it's just like the asteroids that are floating in space, and the temple is still on it.
Okay.
And you're keeping that asteroid from
We could
blowing
go
up.
science
but-
fiction on that one. Like,
but
it's
yeah,
easy
it's
enough.
like, does it really matter? Like the most important part to us is that it's fun, right?
Okay.
And that the commanders are interesting. So
Awesome.
we
That
can
makes
definitely explore those. So is there one that you like? Is there one that you're really like championing for?
Like a commander?
Yeah.
I was actually really championing for the Haka. Like, I know a lot of people are asking
yeah.
for like Mahorner, like a bunch of like the Starfleet kind of guys from or well, I guess it would be a Terran commander, but
Yeah.
I'm not that. I don't think I would be that great at game design. I don't think it's my area of expertise. But
So what was your ideas for the Haka before it came
So-
out?
I would assume I was gonna assume that it would be more or less something closer along the lines of, for example, Nova, where his army is a lot more focused around the Haka himself.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess like once you get him to level 10, he's still awfully powerful. So I sort of assumed him more or less like a Warcraft 3 hero in that sense, where he's got like a smaller army, where he's like the primary leader and like the hero to deal with. I guess he's playing out like that, but he can still max out to 200 supply,
Yeah.
and his army is still very like vulnerable, and like you can
Okay.
you still gonna have to replace.
So you wanted less units and they're stronger.
That's how I would have imagined
Okay.
it. But
Okay.
is that something you guys decide as well?
Oh wow.
Alden
Look at
Ryan,
that.
thank you.
Nice.
Thank you for the sub.
So elite.
There you go. So elite. Yeah, there you go. But is that something you guys decide as well? Like, do you just like scrap entire ideas sometimes, where like you've been trying out for like a month and you're like, well, it's just not working, or
That would be really bad for us.
right? I can imagine like.
Like I said, for Abathur, we did some of that stuff. Just like another terrible Abathur idea. Should this just be like a terrible Abathur idea
What's up?
stream?
I mean, I'm okay with it. Like,
then
I would
the,
love to see, like, that's like the cool stuff that nobody ever talks about, right? Like,
Yeah,
we don't know
these are the
process
juicy things, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So another one was like, just like evolution and like powering up. And so we were like, what if we had research that you could just keep getting over and over again? Like you can
Right.
research it as many times as you want. So we're like, roach range +1.
Oh, you could
roach
get
range +2, 3, 4, up to like, I don't know, 10, 15, and roaches were shooting like 15 range.
that
and
sounds
we're like,
awesome.
we're like, this
It's
is
like 2 screens away. It's
yeah.
like 2
And we're
Tempests.
like, this is dumb, right? This is pretty dumb.
Right.
Uh,
It's like, but you guys can like make it work quickly just to see what it's like, right? So like, I'm
yeah.
assuming you don't
Yeah,
need
we're
like all
pretty
the
fast.
artwork and all
yeah,
that.
we're-
like-
yeah. So we iterate really fast. The problem with with Abathur was that we tried a lot, and then so that was a lesson that we learned.
Right.
So hopefully, well, I mean not hopefully, but as you guys have seen, I think the commanders have been coming out a lot faster since then, and so
Yeah.
we're trying to keep this new pace where we have maybe like 3 to 4 like solid ideas that we can try out,
Mhm.
and not just be like, what?
all over the place, right? A little bit more,
a little more focused.
Yeah.
So
I think the latest
been
commanders,
good.
like, since Abathur in particular, so it's been like, well, I don't know the order. I'm gonna miss someone for sure. It's like Abathur, Alarex, Stukov, like those. I think those commanders, like all the more recent ones, I think they're really well made. Like some of the older ones are maybe a little bit less like, you know, unique in the sense that like Raynor drops Marines and like Swan makes Mechians.
Yeah.
Do you guys like plan on ever going like back to the older commanders and like try and switch them up, or like mostly focus on like little balance tweaks and just make sure they're competent?
Yeah, and I don't think we need like complete redesigns.
Right.
The thought behind the first three being super simple
Yeah, it makes
was
sense.
intentional,
Right.
because they're the free commanders. And not only
right.
are they the free ones, but they're supposed to be. So we designed them to be like transitions from campaign. So if you played Wings of Liberty,
Right.
that's what I know Raynor to be, right? Like the kind of upgrades that he had in Wings of Liberty, what he can do. And there's like, you know, the Hyperion and all that stuff, right? So
Right.
Kerrigan plays similar to her campaign, Artanis to his, right? So that you can play
Right.
campaign and then go into co-op. It was
Okay.
that was kind of like our plan for players, because we're expecting most people to come in, play the campaigns, and then maybe they're a little bit scared about multiplayer first, so they
Right.
would try out co-op. So we had try to keep a nice transition. Because if you just came in and then you're like, here's
Right.
Karax, and you're like, what is happening? Like, why are my units so expensive? Like, my powers, I have to use them all the time. So
Yeah, it
it's
makes
kind of a
actually perfect
learning thing.
And they come in with like a starter edition as well, right? Like I forgot about that part, but obviously like if you don't even own the game,
Yeah,
you just,
they're completely free to play.
right.
So you can just download.
And play.
You don't
Right,
need
that's
any
cool.
licenses. Yeah, so that's great. So if you have friends that you know that don't play StarCraft, you can get them into it.
Nice.
It's been it's a good way to get back in it.
Yeah. So I think it's time to take some questions as well from Twitch chat. If you guys have any questions whatsoever, if you could like phrase them in, you know, not a half paragraph, that would be awesome. Just go ahead and address them at LowkoTV in the chat so I can easily pick them out. So if you guys have anything whatsoever, feel free to ask anything. And we'll try and go through some good ones. Lowko, can you ask David about the issues co-op only having 3 Terran commander?
Only 3 commanders.
Ooh.
Oh.
Is that something you guys keep in mind? Like,
Does Stukov count?
So Stukov apparently shows up as well, you know, if you have a victory screen. So I asked it as well. If you have a victory screen, apparently it's labeled as Zerg. I guess it's like based off of like the basis of Zerg. I'm not entirely sure, but regardless, do you guys like keep that in mind? Like,
well, I mean, he's categorized as Zerg,
Right.
mostly because of story, right? Because he was with Kerrigan in Heart of the Swarm.
right? Okay.
He's not really hanging out with his Terran friends anymore. So
Right. Yeah. Okay.
Race balance, is race balance important?
Yeah.
in this mode?
Well, do you guys like care more about like, hey, let's make a fun commander, and like this happens to be the best idea we got right now, or do you more care like, well, you know, we've got like 6 Zerg ones right now, and then we've got like 2 Terran ones. Are we gonna like?
Yeah. So I guess the schedule kind of shifted a little bit in the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
It was supposed to be, you know, like one of each.
Right.
And then we like kind of did some shifts.
Right.
Like Alarak came out before Nova, and so that kind of threw off our schedule. And so now we're still just going 1, 2, 3. Oh, is that spoilers? Do people know? Now you know, because it's Phoenix, Dahaka, Terran.
Well, there you go, guys. You can start brainstorming on that one.
Was that a confirmation? I don't know. That was
I
just,
don't know.
just
I
me
think that was just
hypothesizing.
hypothetically speaking. That's how you would
Hypothetically speaking,
ideally design things.
that seems to make sense.
That
if
seems
we
to make sense.
Did that,
There you go.
but I'm not really confirming anything. Just
Potentially.
talking.
Potentially.
Yeah. So.
Alrighty. What does the commander look like before the art department kicks in? How do you guys work with the bare thing? So like you just mentioned, you can quickly test things. Do you like say like use like an Abathur model for Dahaka for a while you're like testing
so
them
that's
out?
the great thing about our engine and our editor, and which obviously, you know, the fans,
Right.
they can use it.
You guys just use the editor as well, just like
Yeah, we just use it straight up. There's no
Okay.
special like dev version, so we're using what the community uses. So there's like so many assets in there that we can use placeholder stuff all over. So sometimes it's a little hard. So when we create like a completely new mechanic,
right.
we're still using like old models or different models in placeholders. So sometimes you really have to use your imagination, and that's kind of
Like, guys,
part
just
of
pretend
development.
that this is Dahaka. Like,
yeah, like
pretend it's
it's
growing.
Dahaka,
Like
yeah. So
right.
it can look pretty janky.
Right.
Um,
That's not really important, I guess, for like gameplay, right? Like,
yeah. Sometimes people can get caught up on that though, even in testing. So sometimes, like if we use a bad placeholder, so like if your weapons look really weak, sometimes people will say, "Oh, this weapon looks really weak." We're like, "It's doing 100 damage." And they're like, "Oh, but the effect looks, dumb."
Right.
And we're like,
right.
well, yeah, okay. So we'll try to put in a better placeholder.
It's hard to like see that fantasy like actually happen,
the
I
feel.
guess. Yeah, exactly.
So that it sometimes can get in the way, but we try to do our best with imagination.
Yeah, exactly. Like you can't really. I mean, what you're trying to say is like you can't really send it to the art department and then be like, "Yo, guys, can you make this?" And then like, "Oh, sorry, we're not." Stop. Couple of weeks of work. We're not gonna use that. Like,
yeah. So
they
we're
would probably
definitely try to be
that.
sensitive to wasting people's time.
Have you guys ever considered making a fun mutator? Like, for example, all units have plus 15 range.
All units or like enemy units?
No, I think like we talked about this briefly earlier. I think he's mentioning like the commander's units are mutated rather than like the opponent's units are mutated.
Not for our mutation system. That's like one of our design pillars.
Okay.
Was that they always make it harder for the player.
Okay. Well, hey, fair enough.
Yeah.
But like you could like technically speaking like make like a really like 3 really tough ones and then also give 1 massive buff to the commanders.
Like in the same one?
Yeah, exactly. So you've got like 3 mutators that are like really impossible without the actual buff.
That's a cool idea. And then just not put it into custom?
Yeah, like put it in the weekly mutation mission.
Yeah.
I think that's probably what people play the most.
I guess another thing that we could do that I was just thinking about was we can do what we call kiss curses. Where we give you a kiss.
Right.
Let's demonstrate.
No, okay, let's go with that one.
Okay.
Like, get me to the top of Reddit right there.
Okay. What was I talking about?
Kiss something.
Okay. So kiss curse is like we give you something, but it's also there's like a bad, right? So we could make a mutator where it's like you get plus 15 range, like even your guys, but you have like 1 health or something like that.
That would be awesome. That would be really cool.
We could do that.
Yeah, that would be really cool because they automatically go to the back anyway, but you kind of are playing with fire there.
Yeah.
Well, that's like cool stuff.
But you also have to like consider how it works with every commander. So maybe because if it was like that, then I guess Zagara just gets screwed over, right? Her Zerglings just have 1 health.
Yeah, I guess they can't really bite from 15 range. Yeah, well, that's okay. Like, Raynor would be really good for one. But Raynor would be really good for the mutation mission. What about 3-man co-op missions? Is that something you guys consider? So you can play, well, I guess, you can still play co-op.
Is that like a brand new mode, like co-op 2.0?
I guess you would probably have to like design
players?
maps and stuff. Like, it would get really tricky really fast. I guess it would also like complicate it a lot.
It would be a different queue and everything, right?
Right. There you go, guys. It's not that easy.
Seems
it's not like just make it and like.
There's performance issues probably too.
You're right. Okay.
I guess a good question as a follow-up is why do they want that? Because that's part of the design.
Right.
Like being a designer is sometimes you get feedback like that where it's like, hey, can you do this thing?
Yeah, like what's the intention?
Yeah, like what are you looking for? Because maybe I can't do it exactly what you just suggested, but maybe I can get you what you want if I can figure it out.
Right.
Yeah.
So I think the idea is like, hey, I want to play with 2 of my friends rather than 1.
More friends.
Okay. Yeah, we got more. Like David, I got more than 1 friend. What do I do?
We just have the 3 musketeers and like 1 guy is just like.
What if you got 4 friends? I guess that's where it gets more complicated. Yeah.
Well, if you have 4 friends, you can just both play co-op.
You just have to decide who's your best friend.
If you have 3 friends, you can just play some 3v3 games or take turns.
Exactly. Have you guys considered replacing current masteries with mastery trees, making the level 15 plus phase much more interesting and providing more build options? So I'm assuming he looks at that as sort of like a World of Warcraft like talent selection.
Just like more options.
Rather than like having 3 sliders, you can choose like 1 of 3 options in like the current World of Warcraft talent selection. So like you level to 15, and is that something you guys consider, or is that like, do you guys look at like the mastery system as it is right now and just look at it and be like, okay, that seems fine?
I guess when I'm looking at the mastery system right now, I guess the system seems okay. I think maybe some of the choices could use some work. But I think with something like this, I think those are more open to redesigns or revamps.
Right.
More than like completely redoing Raynor, for example. I think like if we're saying like, hey, maybe these choices aren't interesting, or the way that you make choices is not that interesting. Like that's something I think we could look at. I guess maybe this guy's just looking for some more interesting choices.
Yeah, I think like for example, say like like a commander starts with like his gas taken, or a commander starts with like 200 minerals more or whatever, so you can do some build variety. Maybe at least that's what I'm assuming Eddie is asking for. But
yeah, we actually tested that out as one of the masteries of starting with more resources. And
we'll get crazy, I guess, very fast.
Yeah, like the numbers look really small, but they're like super powerful. Like if you started with an extra like 300 mineral, like it actually makes a huge difference.
Yeah, you can like command center up right from the get-go and like drop 2 meals at once. It gets really crazy.
Yeah, it gets
really fast.
crazy. But at the same time, you're like +1 mineral. This feels really weak. But then
yeah, but like I guess like 300 minerals, the first like minute or so of game time gets like shaved off. Yeah, right. Like that's a lot of time.
Crazy strong.
Yeah. Yeah. If you get a minute extra in the 10-minute mark, it's actually you can max out in a minute. Yeah. What about co-op in match history? It would be really cool to see all the stats on demand. So statistics for co-op. I guess that's something that would be logical with the leaderboard system. Like
yeah, that sounds really cool too. Yeah, and be able to. So we have replays now.
Right.
That was a fairly recent ad.
Like 3.15.
So yeah, we could look at that. We could look at that definitely. Have you guys been sharing a lot of replays?
I have not shared any, I'm afraid.
But
I share them online, right? I make videos.
Watch
it's
different.
True. Yeah. So I don't really share my co-op replays, I suppose. But there's some. I guess it would be cool, like if you're struggling with like a mutation mission or whatever, to be like, yo, this is how we did it. Yeah. Here's the file.
Yeah.
I haven't actually had anyone really like focus on
You could do it for subscribers.
Yeah. You can do like co-op analysis.
Exclusive access to your replays.
Exactly.
If they subscribe.
I do actually do replay packs for multiplayer. I can add co-op to that.
Yeah.
Well, that's not a bad idea at all.
For leaderboards.
For leaderboards?
Yeah.
We could share them. Oh yeah, if you like, you can be like, yo, I'm a rank 10 leaderboard.
Rank 10 leaderboard. Yeah.
That would be awesome. No, actually, then it would be like really worthwhile, because I would be very interested in like what the top players are playing, right? Like currently, I don't really care all too much about like what my friends will be doing in co-op if I can just complete it myself as well. But if I have like, hey, I can see exactly what strategy, I don't know, Crusher 99 or whatever he's called in Overwatch plays on the temple. That'd be cool, actually.
Yeah.
Any brutal on steroids mode? So I actually asked this question before as well to another developer, and he mentioned that essentially the way brutal is looked at is, you would like to add another difficulty above that, but you're more or less like looking to achieve that by playing with the mutators instead.
Yeah,
I think that's kind of the steroids mode.
Yeah, I think that's so. Mutators, I think, first of all, is like more interesting than just like stat buffs, right? Like, what would brutal on steroids be? Just like more guys, like bigger attack waves.
Yeah,
how
would
that
it
interesting?
be fun, right?
And also, even there's a break point, right? Like, you could triple the size of an attack wave, but if you're using Artanis and you're just solar bombarding it, like it's gonna kill it anyways.
Right.
Like, it doesn't make it harder because you can already wipe the screen. So it have to be like more frequent, but even then, like I was saying, it's like not as interesting. It could hurt performance. So definitely like mutators is our way of saying like this is like a really interesting and fun way, and is also crazy hard. Right. So it seems like it gives us a huge range of difficulty.
It's like a more fun way of approaching it.
Yeah.
I feel like it's a recurring theme, the fun part.
So I'm curious to people who are looking for difficulty harder than brutal. Like, do they do all the weekly challenges? Have you tried them with commanders that you don't think are the best?
Right, so that's what I've recently been doing. Yeah, I've been one of the people that's been wondering if there's like need for like a mode above brutal, because some of the mutation missions are really hard, and then there's other ones where you can just sort of like play whatever you want, and it's still pretty doable.
Yeah. We try to mix it up.
Yeah, exactly.
Like we have some spikes. But yeah, like if you think the game's too easy, then I would challenge you to do them on. You could do no masteries. You could do self-handicap.
Yeah, exactly.
But I would say try to do them with every commander every week.
Yeah, exactly.
Can you do that?
No, some of them are pretty much impossible. Like Stukov, for example. Like Stukov is a great example of like someone who's like extremely good at mutation missions where like enemies are trying to kill your army. So like pretty much all of them.
Yeah.
Like he's insanely good on most of the. But actually, like I've tried playing him a bunch on like the new map as well, like the one that's playable right here, and he doesn't seem like he's pretty good on that one. But you're probably better off with other commanders on that one. I don't know.
But then don't play Stukov against propagators.
What are the propagators again?
That's the ones with the little slime monster, and then he attacks you.
Oh right, yeah, no, I tried doing that with Raynor. That was a terrible idea. Yeah, I don't know. The propagator one, that's been once, right? I think it's been once, at least that I played it. Maybe I was like, I didn't play one of them.
Yeah, you'll see him again.
Okay,
that guy's a fun one.
How do you guys come up with the mutators? Is there a backlog from the competition that you're still working through? From the competition.
Oh yeah, so we had the community design some. They
Okay, right. That's the competition.
The one with the heroes. Yeah.
Yeah, that one's really cool. I played pretty much all of the maps. That was awesome.
Oh no, so there's the map competition, but this person's talking about the mutation competition.
Oh, okay.
Where they designed one.
Oh, right. That's like a year ago, I think, or like a half.
It was a while ago, yeah. And then we made the one where it does the like Amon versions of heroes, where you like fight Kerrigan and Artanis. That was the winner. So yeah, we definitely still have that list of mutations that we can look through. But I think right now we have like more than 60 unique mutations.
Yeah, that's quite a few.
Yeah.
That's like one edit like every couple of weeks, it feels like. It's actually, it's pretty cool.
So we're
like the propagators is a pretty recent one. Although I guess you guys have been internally playing that for a while longer.
For a while. Yeah, we had like killbots come out.
Oh, right. The killbots was an annoying one. Yeah. Like, for example, like playing the killbots mutator with Nova is like essentially impossible. Like you're gonna have to sacrifice SCVs to like,
you just sacrifice your partners.
That works. Yeah, that's what I ended up doing. Like we ended up, I think,
you just like kite them over to your partner's mineral line.
Yeah,
I'm not encouraging that.
Well, you can,
but you can.
That's kind of the fun of it, right? Messing with your ally as well. If you guys have any questions, by the way, do feel free to post them. I see tons of questions.
And just to confirm, our QA team definitely can beat them all on Brutal, because some people have been questioning whether we can do it ourselves.
I remember one of them on missed opportunities. That's like, I think it's about a year or so ago, and that was a mission that was like nearly impossible to complete. I'm sure someone in the chat can let us know what the name was. I struggled on that one for like a long time. That's the only one that I truly struggled on. I ended up playing it together with a couple of pro gamers as well.
One where they get really big?
No, it was the one where the nuke explode. Like if you kill the hybrid. But then I think that one got nerfed or something, because the nukes were like absolutely wiping everything. It was kind of wild. And in the end, it turned out you could just simply put spider mines all over the map with Raynor and just sort of like cheese it a little.
I did that.
Yeah, you did that? Okay, well, there you go. We figured it out.
I did that.
Yeah. You like to have a support commander, says the Raider, like Statman with only healers, or the girl from Wings of Liberty with the infested colonies. So like a supportive commander who like mostly buffs up other. That would actually be pretty cool. So do you guys look at something like that and be like, well, all of the commanders need to have like attacking units, or do you also consider like, hey, this one is like, like the bard of our RPG party, like he's gonna play songs and like buff us up instead.
Yeah, I guess so far we haven't pushed it that far. We have supporty type ones like Karex, I guess, is pretty close to being our support. Right. Where he kind of has to rely on his partner to kind of help push out. So he can do it too. Like you just send your small forces and then just get vision enough to just keep nuking.
Carriers. Yeah.
Or you can do like cannon pushing.
I think that's how most people do.
But he's kind of supporty. We could definitely explore making it a little bit more support, but we try to keep them well-rounded enough.
Right.
Right. So everybody has a static detector. Everybody has a mobile version of detection. That kind of stuff. So you don't feel like you're totally crippled and relying on your ally. But they definitely have their strengths and weaknesses. So I think we could look at pushing it more.
Yeah.
See how that goes.
I think it would be pretty cool, because like right now sometimes you can like you're playing with an ally, but you might as well be playing with yourself, because like you're just your ally's doing like the top lane and you're doing the bottom lane, and you're not really like helping each other out in that sense. So if it would be pretty interesting to see something like that happen. But I guess if you're playing like random queues, or you're like playing public games, like it would get pretty frustrating pretty fast if you have someone who's like only healing, or
It looks like somebody was asking about level increases, which we just posted about.
Oh, did you? I didn't actually read that.
Oh, you haven't seen it?
No.
Yeah. So it's called Ascension levels.
It just came out like today?
Maybe yesterday.
Okay.
It's not out, but the blog is.
Okay.
Talking about it.
Oh, I haven't read that.
Well, here's a surprise for you then.
There you go. I'm hyped up already.
Yeah.
What is it?
It's so we're increasing the level cap. It's not power, so you're not getting more mastery points. And we can talk about that in a little bit. So it goes up to 1,000 levels because people just keep capping. So we're like, here's co-op.
I'm just approaching 90 right now. I'm at 84. Like
yeah, so it's just in time. Actually, we're tracking your account. So we're making sure that you have something to do once you get to 90. So
Okay.
you're our benchmark.
Oh, okay. Are you actually? Oh, okay. There you go. I felt so special for a second there.
You're very special. Of course.
I was like,
course it's
I'm
about
like
you.
2 months off of like only doing mutation missions of like getting to the max level, and you know.
Oh, maybe that's when it comes out.
Well, there you
Actually,
go.
the sooner you get to 90, the
Yeah,
sooner that patch comes out.
That's like you're just waiting. It's like, well, Loko's not
so
90
yeah,
yet, guys.
so if
I'm
you guys
sorry.
are excited about the Haka,
That's how it
then,
works.
yeah, subscribe to this guy and get him up to 90 so that Dahaka releases.
There you go.
So it'll start at 91.
Mm-hmm.
So it's cosmetics
You go
no
up to
power
1,000.
and
Like,
1,000. Yeah, because we released the mode and we're like 15 levels per commander. There's only 5 maps. This seems like a good progression curve. And then people were like, I maxed out everything. They're all 15.
Give me more, David.
Where is it? What's going on? And we're like,
Right.
oh my goodness. Okay, let's give them some mastery levels.
Right.
What's an insane number that no one will
It takes
ever
a
get
long
to?
time as well. Like it doesn't.
No one will
like,
ever get to this.
Right.
90. And then people on the forums are like, I've been 90 for over a year.
Yeah, it's well, if you play co-op every day, right? I mostly play with like the mutation missions, that whatever you enjoy
Yeah.
doing. But if you like play like 5 games of co-op every day, I think you reach it in like 3 months, maybe. You know, I'm not sure. I just came up with a random
And
number,
the,
but
and
you
the
get
challenges.
you get eventually. Yeah, you
They
get
give
there
you like
eventually.
a big XP bounty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You get 260 something. Like it's actually really
So
cool.
when we're looking at those leveling curves, we try to keep in mind the average kind of casual player.
Mm-hmm.
So
Right.
it seemed like, you know, if you're not
Yeah.
too crazy, this should last a while. But everyone's like, yeah, we love this mode. I can't stop playing
It's
it.
like a a good problem to have.
It's a
right?
it's a great problem to have, and I love those people.
So what
I
do
love
you
you
get now
guys.
if you go past 90?
So we're doing like some sprays.
Oh, okay.
Some special emotes.
Oh, cool.
Nice. Some special like double emotes that like connect. So those are pretty fancy.
Okay.
And, you can only get them in co-op.
All right.
We got a cool like Stepman spray.
Nice.
So there's some fun stuff. So
So it's
hopefully
mostly like fun stuff past 90 then?
yeah, this is fun stuff.
And does it like keep scaling as well from like for example, like 89 to 90 is insane.
No, it's flat.
Okay, I was gonna say like otherwise no one's ever gonna like potentially reach
From
1,000. Like that's
like
impossible.
99 to 999 to 1,000. It's
That
just
would
like a
be-
million years.
yeah.
No, so it's flat. So you could still feel good about getting levels.
Okay. Cool.
So hopefully that lasts you guys a little bit longer before
There you
we
go.
have to go up to 1,000,000 levels.
Yeah. It's like, well, 1,000 sounds really far away. Do you know like what the level or like what the XP is at that point? like
I don't
roughly,
have
like-
it offhand, but I think it's faster than 89 to 90, I believe.
89 to 90
It's
is a long
either-
time. Like,
It's either the same, but I think it's a little faster. So
okay.
cool.
That's
That's another popular demand is Steps of Betrayal.
I love that one.
Do you? Do you want it like full time? Do you want it always around?
I think it was really fun to play. Like there were some awfully broken strategies.
yeah.
Like I thought, essentially when it first came out, I thought like surviving until the apocalypse was like ultimate BM already. But like people figured out real quickly you could just drop Marines at like the 5-second mark in your opponent's face. Like
Yeah.
it was like really dumb. But yeah, I think it would be cool. Like some people actually came up with like an idea of like, for example, having like a 5-minute no rush kind of concept where you like literally can't like cross the middle of the map. Something along those lines. I think it would be really fun if it's something like that where you don't just like die because you didn't pick Rainer. Like,
Yeah.
so is that something you guys have been like looking into, or?
We've chatted about it because people keep bringing it up. We don't have any plans right now, but it's something to keep in mind because people seem to like that.
Archon mode in co-op. I've seen a few people ask about that. Is that like, you know, where you're essentially having 2 people play one base?
Yeah.
And the other team is also
I guess
playing 2 people?
that's a good way to get 3 players and 4 players in, right? You can arc on it.
Figured it out. Like it's this is a good one.
Okay. I should have brought a notepad, but it's okay. Are
It's
you going to upload this
I will, yeah.
VOD?
I will.
Or I can go back to the office and take notes.
No, that's actually some, like, people give some really, like, solid feedback. Like, I've noticed a lot of people, like when we're discussing multiplayer design changes, it's really tricky because multiplayer is, like, a really... If you change one matchup a little bit, it's going to also affect the others. Like, if you change one unit up just a second, right? It's just a little bit. Like, if you increase
or
the damage on the regular
super
range.
early, like Mothership Core.
Right, exactly. Like, it's going to, like... No, but it's going to, like, damage the game for, like, months if you change anything. But, like, co-op, there's a little bit more, like, wiggle room because, like, you're not actually playing against... Well... Not yet, at least. You're not playing against each other on the steps of betrayal. You know, I like that.
Yeah.
Or like as a custom map. I guess it could be a custom map. I actually played a ton of it on April 1st. That was fun.
How'd you do?
I did pretty well. That was pretty fun.
Killed a lot of noobs.
Yeah, killed a lot of noobs. It was just mostly like surviving until your first major cooldown came on.
Did you get to try it with every commander?
Yeah, I tried doing it, but some are like... I thought Sagara would be really good because of the free banelings, but Sagara, it's like... It turns out the free banelings come out a little too late.
Yeah. Before
even though like
minerals
it's
are
like the 2-minute mark.
Yeah, the
like,
Marines are in your mineral line. Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen people ask about this as well. This is more like an engineer-related question, I suppose. But is there like any plans to improve the current engine? Because, for example, I get it as well when I'm playing myself, where I'm like dropping frames heavily just because of the you know, utilization of all the cores and all that.
Yeah.
Is there any or are there any plans on like improving that, or is that?
I think that's something that we're always looking at.
Right.
Yeah, that's always something on our radar. We have, like I was saying, our engineers are awesome. So we have graphics engineers that are always looking at that. But if anything specific happens, there's also some weird, you know, very specific things that happen. So definitely if that happens to you a lot or in specific situations, definitely hit it, send it to the bug forums, let us know what your specs are and like what you're playing. And then that's happened. Like people have sent that in and we've found very specific bugs.
Like
that we
specifically for like that system, that graphics card,
like
and
that
like that driver, like
and that combination, like
all right.
that crazy kinds of stuff like that.
It's like you can't test that, like well you could.
Because there's like there's like so many combinations. So yeah, people have sent that in, and we have found crazy bugs like that. So definitely, if you get it, send it in.
Well, people are all reporting that they all are level 90 for like 18 months and 5 months.
18 months, yeah. So
he plays a lot.
So yeah, they're probably gonna give me feedback, you know, in like 2 months and be like, I'm already 1,000. What's going on?
So this is the one that I was talking about, called Sheer Chaos, Chains on Ascension. Outbreak Speed Freak and Just Die. I think Just Die was the tricky one where everything just nukes. It's kind of unfortunate. Yeah, I'm seeing a lot of questions about like specific commanders. I'm sure you can't really answer too much about like, well, are you gonna add Gabriel Torch to the game?
Yeah. Well, I mean it's helpful.
Yeah,
to
it's a cool character.
know that he's in demand.
Yeah,
that's cool.
There you go. That's as much as you. Well, this is, you know, kind of obvious.
This just be a straw poll on your chat, and then.
That's a great idea.
The next poll.
This is like I'm like a neutral poll. If you guys would do it, it would be too obvious, right?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
Yeah. So we already talked about like Overmind related missions. I mean, well, spoiler, I guess Overmind is not doing that great. Cool. Yeah, if you guys have any very specific questions or anything in particular, do let us know in the chat. And it looks like we're going through most of the ones pretty straightforwardly. Like anything obviously commander specific, I mean...
Tahaka is definitely not the last co-op commander. The team is hard at work back in the Irvine office, working on its stuff right now.
Yeah. Mr. York says, please tell David that it's really great how to take community feedback into account and constantly enhance the game. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you guys. We definitely could not do this without you guys.
Otherwise you wouldn't be able to like make anything, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, just like the feedback is super helpful. The ideas and suggestions. Zeratul. Zeratul commander.
I guess you got Forazun. It's sort of like a Zeratul-ish kind of commander with a lot of Dark Templars or Void Race. Can never go wrong with Void Race. They're always good.
Do you have any Zeratul commander ideas?
I mean, the Dark Templar idea. Like, people ask these questions, and I'm like, I'm not a game designer. I'll probably figure out things that are quite broken when he would come out, but like, I don't know. Like, I would imagine him as a Dark Templar, right? And I quite like. So I've been playing quite a lot of Warcraft 3 as of late. Like, I completed the entire campaign. I quite like the concept of having like one hero unit and then like smaller army units that sort of like support the hero.
Yeah.
Sort of like Nova, where you've got a much smaller army that's far more mobile, and you display. I quite like those commanders. It's kind of what I had the idea as well with the Haka, right? But like, I mean, it's hard to I'm not in that creative mood, I guess, where I can just like.
That'd be cool.
I got crazy ideas.
One of the early Vorazun ideas was that because I was saying like we kind of just throw like themes out there. That the Dark Templar are like nomadic people, right? Who've like lost their like homeworld, kind of just wandering around. So or like maybe she just has like a mothership, and there's like no base, and you can fly around the map. Try to harvest
that would
minerals.
be awesome.
There's like no workers. So maybe like maybe Zeratul can come out.
Like zap up resources.
Zeratul's just like a lone guy looking for pieces of the prophecy.
That would be really cool. Like I guess you can get really far. Like if you've got a group of people that are creative, and I guess you put them in a room and talk about stuff. I guess you can go pretty far.
We could go way down the weeds, which is what happened with Abathur. So just gotta remember to be careful. We get too crazy sometimes.
Ooh, that's actually a cool idea. Something about introducing rescuable allies as like bonus objectives in maps. So you've got that, for example, in a bunch of the campaigns where you get additional units if you do the bonus objectives, or in particular like in the StarCraft 2 campaign, that's pretty common, where you like complete the bonus of campaign and you just get like, I remember the first one that pops in mind is like the early Terran one where you just get a bunch of additional Marines.
Yeah.
You're getting water. There you go.
Such service.
Yeah. Is that anything you guys have considered at all? No, okay. I'll just talk for a little. Is that anything you guys? You can. There you go. Is it something you guys have considered at all?
So our design philosophy on bonus objectives is that they make it harder for you. Like, so you can't get rewards.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense, I guess.
So the way that we designed it was like, if you're playing on hard, and then you're feeling like, okay, this difficulty is getting kind of easy, but I'm not good enough to go to brutal, then you can do the bonus objectives.
Thank you.
So they're kind of like the halfway point between the next difficulty. So hard and a half is you doing the bonus objectives. So the rewards can't be that great, because if you did them and then you got stronger, then it's not really like stretching you. Right. So ideally, if you go after the bonus objective, you might lose like 20, 30 supply. Right. And so it should set you back a little bit. It should stretch you, because sometimes they'll spawn at the same time as the main objective timer's running out. So you're like, oh, I have to split my army, or I can go handle it and my partner can do the other one. So they should make it harder. So I don't think that would work for a bonus objective. No, it makes perfect sense when you talk about it like that. But I think we could probably still build that into like the main mission. Right. Yeah. Right. Like, we could factor that into the balance of the main mission. Like, you have to go rescue them. Right. And then you get some cool. Maybe you get some cool, unique units to use. See, I think maybe that's what people are. So that's just me trying to be the designer. Yeah, no, that sounds, you're better at this than me. Like, what are you looking for? Like, if they're looking for, like, cool things to do that give you power, I think we could do that and just factor that into the main story. Yeah. But I think that's a cool idea. I always had fun, too, like, especially when you got unique stuff. Like, if it was a mission, like, you couldn't build medics, but you can go over there and save, like, 4, and then you try to keep them alive the whole game. It's not really like critical. You got a bunch of free nukes, maybe they die, but maybe like I survived to the end of the mission with the 4 special medics that I wouldn't have been able to get. So that would be awesome. I think that stuff is pretty fun. It's a lot of options, a lot of things you can potentially be adding. PvP in co-op, I think we have discussed that one. Do you have any rejected commander or map ideas? Any like the ones you mentioned earlier? Any that come to mind right away? If not, that's fine. No, I should have brought some more. We have so many. You had so many. So many. You got like notepads full of stuff. Notepads full of bad stuff. Let me come back to that.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, no worries. Like, you know.
I can talk about Swan. Swan had some. This is before we had the rebuild mechanic on his siege tanks and Thors.
The destructible thing?
Yeah. So he had scraps to collect.
It's like Torbjorn.
Yeah, he's like Torbjorn.
Yeah.
So he had to like kill like mech units, or when his own mech units died, you can collect scrap. You could build like special bonuses on yours. So he was kind of like, collect scrap, and then like, hammer it on.
That's literally Torbjorn right here. Have you played him? It's
who's Torbjorn?
It's from Overwatch.
Is
you put down a turret, and like
Uh-huh.
he has to collect scrap from other like things that died, and then you can improve your turret.
Oh.
That's essentially the same concept where
Oh.
you I guess would like increase your siege tank strength or something
They
like
must
that.
they must have played our Swan prototype.
There you go. Figured it out.
I'm just kidding. Overwatch team.
No.
Just kidding. Forgive me. But yeah, we got wacky stuff like that.
Yeah, I guess you'd like probably have to scrap like 10
Oh,
wacky ideas
I
before
guess
do
we could
one.
talk about Dahaka ones.
Okay.
That's more recent in my
Sure.
memory. So we're talking about like how the units, they fight each other, right? And when each one gets bigger.
Right.
One of the first ideas was completely insane, which is you can get a unit, you tell them to eat something, and depending on what that is, this kind of evolved into the Dahaka consume buff.
Uh-huh.
But basically, those units can kill something and then gain their abilities permanently. And then you can
Dahaka
have
would,
like a
like-
whole bunch of like different recipes.
Oh, okay,
of
like
units.
that.
So it's like so it's like It's like a crafting system.
It's like craft your
Like
own like Zerg
yeah,
unit.
Yeah, like design your own primal unit. And it was like a billion possibilities, a
It's like,
billion
don't eat the
versions
marine
of
first,
art.
like-
Yeah. So like all the art, like a million pieces of art.
Right.
And so it was obviously too insane.
Yeah,
'Cause you would
logistically
never-
it'd be like really tough to pull
Logistically,
off,
I don't
right?
think
Yeah.
you could even pull that off. And just even like gameplay-wise, like can a player try to keep recipes in? He's like, all right, so I need an impaler. What do I need? I need a roach to eat a zergling.
Yeah. Okay,
And
no,
then,
it would go a little
and then
far.
he has to eat this.
You start off with one unit.
Yeah. So we were smart enough to not actually try that one because we're just
Right.
like, no way. But
You gotta
there's stuff
brainstorm
like
crazy
that.
ideas, I
Yeah.
guess, to come
You
up
got to
with
get
something
crazy
cool.
before you settle on what is smart and fun. Loco announcer.
I mean, I would love that. I'm not against that. I've not been asked, but if they,
Let's
if
tell,
they
our,
would,
let's tell our guys here, our handlers.
Any plans on a map, like for example, where you have to defend as long as you can, like for example, Knight to Die? There's so many defensive commanders, but never get their time to shine because everything is sort of timed. So I guess what he's meaning is like a map where you just have to get past the 15-minute mark or whatever, and it just gets more difficult after that. But you kind of like have to, if you want to, you can sit back for
Yeah,
longer.
like a forever map.
Yeah, where like
Like an
eventually you're
endless-
gonna get
like an
overrun
endless
anyway.
version. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
That sounds
I
like a
think
cool idea.
That's a
but-
pretty cool idea.
Yeah, you're getting all kinds of cool. You're like, yes.
Yeah, you guys. I love doing this. You guys are just doing my job.
There you go.
Now I can just go back and relax.
Yeah.
Like, hey, what's up, team? Yeah, it was super hard. I went to Gamescom. So tiring.
Hung out in Germany for like a week.
But I'm so good. I just came back with 1,000 ideas.
Well, hey,
So amazing.
it's helpful. I think we
Thanks,
have
Chen.
we've pretty much covered everything. I think there's like a ton of ideas for like maps as well, and different commanders and whatnot. There's actually a lot of the cool maps that were designed by the community as well. I ended up playing quite a few of them.
Mm-hmm.
You recently announced all of the winners, right? There was actually some solid prizes there.
Yeah.
Pretty good stuff.
We can talk about war chest skins not applying to co-op.
Sure.
That's always a touchy
Yeah, they
subject.
only apply to multiplayer right now. I think it's like 1v1, 2v2, and 4v4 Arc 1, and then arcade I think as well.
Yeah.
Some of the maps. But
Yeah. So the reason I think skins work in multiplayer and other games that obviously do skins like that is so in multiplayer there's a Colossus.
Mm-hmm.
You know what the Colossus does, and
It's
then
like a
if you see a Chalderim version of the Colossus, you're like, oh, that's a cool skin, but I know that's still a Colossus.
Right.
In co-op, if you had...
Right. If you got a Raid Walker and a Colossus from like different commanders look the same, it's a little funny.
If they look the same and they act differently, that's the problem.
Right.
Right? So if you see Karax building a Wrathwalker, and you're
Yeah.
like, oh, cool.
He
He's
can
wearing
hit
a
air.
Wrathwalkers, and he can fight these battlecruisers for
Right.
me.
Yeah.
And then he's
okay.
just like, nope. And then you're confused.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
So that's the main reason. So we're looking at other ways for making War Chest cool for co-op because I think that is important.
Yeah.
And so that's the feedback we're taking is like, hey, how come I don't get stuff for co-op? So we're looking at that. Right now, like some of the other stuff works in co-op, right? Like the
sprays and stuff.
sprays and decals and stuff like that. But we want to do more. So that's definitely another thing that I'm gonna, rely on your chat to give me ideas, so that I can look smart when I get back. And
but it's cool how you like approach the question as like, well, what's the intent behind the question, right?
Yeah.
Why is someone asking something along those lines? Can we like execute that idea somewhere else? Essentially the idea is like, hey, I want to buy the war chest. I don't play multiplayer.
Yeah.
Why do I buy the war chest?
Right? I want stuff. I want to look. I want to look different, right? Like I want my Rainer to stand out from somebody else's Rainer. So that's definitely something that we understand as a desire.
Yeah, exactly.
So
but
we're
you
still
to
trying to
approach all the
talk it
questions
on.
in that way. It's a cool way of doing it.
So yeah, I mean, we want to give you what you're looking for.
There
we're just trying to find the best way to do it. So sometimes we're a little slow, but we're doing our best.
It's fine.
We'll figure it out.
We'll
do this.
it well.
We're gonna do this.
Quality.
Together. Quality.
All right. I think we got it. I think we've gone through pretty much every single one of them. So thank you very much for joining us. I had an absolute blast.
It was
It's been
great.
good. Yeah. I think we got a lot of insightful information there.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of yours.
Nice.
I really like all the co-op stuff that you release. So.
Nice. I'm going to have to put this on YouTube as well.
Oh, yeah.
There you go. You're going to be able to read the comments. Be nice in the comment section. If you're watching this on YouTube, you got to be nice. David's awesome.
YouTube? Comment?
No,
Nice?
YouTube comments are my YouTube comments are actually really positive for
Actually, yeah.
like 8%-ish.
It's because you got good people.
It's StarCraft people.
You're
StarCraft
good people.
are good people.
We have good people.
Anyway, it's been awesome. Thank you very much.